Hello everyone, my name is Ashe, and welcome to my crafting corner. Today we will be painting Shima Rin from Yuru camp, starting off with your basic skin tone paint from Vallejo. Just get a good coating over all the places that have skin showing. In this case, it's only her face. Here's what the paint will look like after it's dried. It darkens a lot, so it's easier to see on camera. Normally, I wait to paint a character's hair for near the end of all the work, but since I have to paint a whole bike, let's get it done now. Just a standard blue paint for her hair. Her gloves are painted with a red leather. Getting into the spots between fingers can be a bit tough, but don't give up. The coat sleeves are done in a bright orange. I'm not sure why I had such a hard time getting it to spray this time, maybe it was too watery. Use some tape to hold the sleeves in place, to see how the flow of paint will need to be, and just use the same blue as before on the upper part of the jacket. If I went back to paint this again, I would add some white into the blue paint, to lighten up the color, just a tad, to have some more variation in the color over the whole kit. You don't have to be too careful, just get a good first coat, and let it dry. The pants were done with the white added, since her jeans are a lighter blue color compared to normal. This is what I should have used on the upper jacket. Her boots, I can't actually remember what color I used, it might be the same as her gloves, that red leather. Small details like this, on her boots, are fun, but very hard to see when you have a camera right in front of your eyes. The scarf here was huge. I didn't realize until I had test fitted all her parts together, that it was so big. We work our way on the lower section with a blue. The scarf has 5 colors overall, so keeping the colors in their own spots was hard, especially if you have shaky hands like I do, but just try your best and don't give up on it. You can always go back and do touch-ups. This red on camera really doesn't show up well until it dries, like, it looks so orange to me, as I'm writing this script. It's kinda crazy. The next color was white, but I left that till last. The top color is meant to be a lot brighter. I didn't get the right mix on the first try. Painting the coffee she is holding was pretty easy, just a few coats of gold paint. I wish I had some water slide printer paper to give it the Boss Coffee logo. Her eyes, I think I've gotten better, but there is so much I can learn from others. I used a wet palette for the first time here, to keep the paint from drying while I was working. The first main color is the darkest color, a purple, with no added colors. Let the first layer dry. And if you are lazy like I am, keep a hairdryer near you, to speed it up. I mixed a small amount of white into the previous purple, to just lighten it up a bit. I would like to understand how to use a wet palette a bit better. It's a skill I will want to learn later on. The bottom part is the lightest of all the purples. It's more white than purple paint. The iris on Rin is almost just a line. I rounded it a tiny bit off camera, since it looks sort of like demon eyes right now. And my favorite part, the little white highlights. I had to go to the art store to find her bike color. It's actually Ocean Breeze, like, it's a perfect match for it. I do, however, wish I would have taken my soldering iron, and gone over the whole bike, to smooth it out more, since I had to print this in plastic. The white of the bike is done in an off-white, with about 100 layers, not fun to watch or paint. The metal of the bike was done in an oily steel. I could not for the life of me find a chrome paint that I could paint on, that I wasn't willing to put out a lot of money for. I still think it turned out nice. So many parts of her bike are black, that I left it out. Seeing about 20 or so very small parts painted black, was boring. Work around the rim of the tire bike, slowly, and be careful. The front tire is done the same way. I'm lucky I had a brush that was the perfect size for the rims. Now this part made my eyes cross, and I can't even go cross-eyed. The tiny numbers inside here were really hard to get to look nice, but it just took some time, and almost no paint on the brush each time. Finish up some parts on the handles, with some color. The license plate was too hard to hold on to, so I used a piece of tape to hold it to a popsicle stick. The letters and numbers are done in the same dark blue, as we have been using before. The square behind the 7 is done in a red paint. And with all that finally done, it's time for the glamour shots. This was so much fun to paint, even with all the tiny spots. It's funny though, Rin is one of the shortest characters in the show, but this Git, she is huge. I want to thank you all for sticking with me through this one. We were almost at 400 subscribers. I know that's not a lot to some people, but I think it's crazy.